Live from Asmara, this is ERi-TV English News Broadcast for Saturday evenings, 22nd August. The time is exactly 10:30 p.m. Good evening to you, and let's begin with the top stories. Dindin Award presented to outstanding students. Important research papers presented at National Conference of Eritrean Agricultural Studies. U.S. imposed 50% tariff on $20 billion worth Canadian goods after talks fail. And EU ready sanctions against Israel over West Bank E1 settlement project. Great to have you with us. Proceeding with all four reports. The National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education branch in the Southern region, presented the Dindin Award to outstanding students who achieved high scores in the National School Leaving Examination. The award recipients are members of the 38th round of national service. At a ceremony held in Mandafera on 20 August, the award was presented to 302 outstanding students, 42% of whom were female, who attained GPAs of 3 and above. Of these, 81 students attained a GPA of 4. Dubarwa High School also received a special award of having the highest number of students who achieved passing marks in the National School Leaving Examination. Underlining that the quality of education can be enhanced through the active participation of all institutions, Mr. Girmay Gabru, head of the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students in the Southern region, said that the Dindin Award makes a significant contribution to promoting healthy competitions among students, noting that proper follow-up and guidance from parents and teachers are key to helping students achieve outstanding results. Mrs. Bilal Araya, speaking on behalf of the Head of Education Office in the region, said that recognizing students who achieve high scores in the 8th grade and National School Leaving Examination makes a significant contribution to improving their academic performance. Mr. Habtaab Tesfatzion, governor of the region, congratulated the award recipients and wished them success in their college education. Since the Dindin Award was introduced in 2022 to recognize students who achieve high score in the National School Leaving Examination, 1,467 students have received the award over 5 rounds. In related news, Dindin High School in Asmara recognized 103 outstanding students who attained GPAs of 3 and above, as well as 15 exemplary teachers. Mr. Daniel Habte, director of the school, said that recognizing outstanding students and exemplary teachers makes a significant contribution to motivating others and improve the teaching-learning process, noting that the progress Dindin High School is registering in enhancing the quality of education in the results of strong effort it is exerting. Mrs. Askalu Fusaye, head of the Education Office in the West East Subzone, wished the award recipients success in their college education and called on parents to continue supporting their children. Participants at the National Conference on Eritrean Agricultural Studies 2026 indicated that important research papers that could make a significant contribution to the development of agricultural sectors were presented at the conference. Engineer Timnit Girmay from the Eritrean Standards Institution said the research papers presented could contribute significantly to supporting agricultural experts, transforming the traditional agricultural system into a modern one, and enhancing farmers' production and productivity. Noting that the research papers focused on the current stage of agricultural activities in the country and their future prospects, Dr. Taddese Beyene from the College of Business and Social Science expressed his expectation that the findings would significantly influence society in general and farmers in particular. Mr. Isaias Desale from the Crops and Livestock Corporation called for a strong effort to translate the ideas presented in the research papers into practical actions so that they could make a significant contribution to the country's agricultural development. The conference, which was conducted in Asmara on 20th and 21st August under the theme Advancing Sustainable Agri-Food System for National Economic Growth, was attended by more than 300 senior governments and PFDG officials, experts, farmers' representatives, food processors, development partners, and invited guests. Those were updates on our domestic issues. Global matters will follow as we come back. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa will impose retaliatory tariff after trade talks with the U.S. fail. The United States has imposed 50% tariff on about $20 billion worth of Canadian goods after trade negotiators from the two countries failed to finalize a trade deal despite 3 days of talks in Washington, D.C. In recent weeks, we made important progress towards improving Canada's position as having the best deal in the world with the U.S., said Carney in a statement. However, that progress has not been enough to meet our objective for Canadians. He also added that his country would match the new tariffs and outlined what his government would do to protect Canadians from the impact of the trade war, saying that it would introduce in the coming days new measures to support workers and businesses. Trump imposed tariffs on key imports from Canada early in the second term last year, promoting Ottawa to retaliate with a suite of countermeasures. The two countries have gone back and forth ever since, with Trump periodically introducing new tariff threats. The European Union is preparing to impose a comprehensive package of sanctions on Israel in response to the latter's advancement of settlement construction in the E1 area of West Bank, according to reports cited diplomatic sources. The proposed measures under consideration by the EU would span commercial, academic, and security domains. Among the initial steps being drafted are mandatory leveling requirements for goods imported from Israel, a reduction in academic cooperation between European and Israeli institutions, and the suspension of certain security and diplomatic engagements with the Israeli government. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the Israeli government's decision to issue construction tenders for the E1 settlement project is unacceptable. Leaders of 7 nations, including Britain, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, and Canada, condemned the Israeli government's decision to publish construction tenders for the E1 settlement project in the West Bank, calling on Israel to immediately retract the plan. In a joint statement, the leaders described the move as unacceptable, warning that it will sever the West Bank, harms the territorial contiguity of the Palestinian territories, and undermine the prospect of two-state solution. China's imports and exports with other Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation (EPIC) economies totaled about $2.68 trillion in the first 7 months of this year, up to 21% year-on-year data released at the EPIC Custom and Business Dialogue showed. The Asia-Pacific economy currently accounts for more than 60% of the global economy, while its total trade volume is approaching half of the global total. In the first 7 months of this year, the growth rate of China's trade with the other EPIC economies outpaced that of China's overall trade in goods during the same period, highlighting the huge potential for region economic cooperation. Eduardo Pedrosa, executive director of the EPIC Secretariat, said the small and medium-sized enterprise account for 97% of all of the business in the region. During the dialogue, the General Administration of Customs of China also held talks with the Customs and Excises Department of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, the Department of Customs Corporation of the Eurasian Economic Commission, South Korea's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, and Chile's Ministry of Agriculture, among others, to deepen cooperations. We're about to end our news broadcast, but here's a final look at the top stories before we say goodnight. Dandan Award presented to outstanding students. Important research papers presented at the National Conference of Eritrean Agricultural Studies. U.S. imposed 50% tariff on $20 billion worth Canadian goods. And EU raised sanctions against Israel over West Bank E1 settlement project. And that's all with the news for this session. On behalf of the entire news crew, thank you for watching. I am Salim Brahane, wishing you a great night.